Today, we're going to talk about one of those companies that we hear a lot about in the news, right? Everyone talks about this company. Everyone says it's doing this, it's doing that, it's buying all this, it's creating these different forms of assets. But what is it exactly, right? That company I'm talking about is BlackRock. BlackRock is in the news almost all the time, right? But what exactly is BlackRock? What is it they do? And why they matter to you and how they can affect your pockets. First off, let's talk about what BlackRock is not. It's not a bank. Okay. It's not a bank that you can go into, open a checking account, get a car loan. They're also not a hedge fund, right? They're not going to do like high rewards for for rich investors or anything like that. And they're also not a brokerage account. Okay. So they don't allow you to create brokerage accounts or individual accounts or retirement accounts within their company. All right. So those are all the things that BlackRock is not. Given how much they have their hand in finances, you would think it's one of those things. But Cornell, I'm gonna pass it over to you so you can explain exactly what BlackRock is. Right? What is this massive company that owns everything? Question mark. Go ahead, bro.
So, in simple terms, what BlackRock is, it's a global investment management corporation. And when we say investment management, they don't manage um, finances for regular everyday people. They're more so doing it on the institutional side. So they're advising institutions on what to put their employee packages as, like in your 403b or your 401k or even your pension, right? So they're really, if they're advising you indirectly rather than directly. So the packages that are available to you through your brokerage, they probably came from the collaboration between your business and BlackRock. Also, BlackRock does create things like ETFs. I know not too long ago, I think it was like January 2024, they came out with like Bitcoin ETFs. And they have a lot more ETFs before then. Um, so even though they do have these investments, you can't invest in it straight through them, but rather um, through your brokerage or through your employer portal when it comes to your retirement.
Exactly. So yeah, that's essentially what BlackRock is. It's a very large asset manager, right? They they track trillions of dollars, right? Between the stock market, the real estate market, even alternative forms of investing, right? And look, if you just join, we're talking about BlackRock, okay? BlackRock is one of the largest asset managers in the country, I might even say the world. If you are at all talking or listening to investing, you've heard this name before: BlackRock this, BlackRock that. That's what this episode is all about. So please stay tuned. We're diving into what BlackRock is, and how they can actually affect your money, right? How this large conglomerate of a company can, and the decisions that they make can affect what is going on in your pockets. Cornell, you already mentioned retirement accounts, right? A lot of people don't think that they're investing in BlackRock, right? Or that they're not investing in something that BlackRock owns. If you got a 401k, you might want to take a look and see what owns the funds that manage the companies in your 401k, or the funds that are inside of your 401k is what I'm trying to say. BlackRock probably has a hand in that, right? The conversations that BlackRock has with these different brokerages are: we think that this is a good combination of companies. Let's create a ETF for it. The brokerage firm says, okay, cool. We'll put it on the market. People can buy it. We'll label it BlackRock something um, as the individual who thought that this fund was a good idea to roll with. So retirement, 401k, check out what you're investing in, see if BlackRock is it being managed by BlackRock. And then also, we know how much BlackRock is affecting the real estate market, right? It has A lot of people criticize BlackRock on what they're doing with the real estate market, and it makes sense. BlackRock, what they do is purchase massive properties, right? And essentially, they make it a bit difficult for people to, like, normal people, families, to to purchase a home. So not only is BlackRock putting their money into the stock market, but they're also using and purchasing assets like real estate, right? So those are just two of the main things that BlackRock does, but it's not all. Um, Cornell, you got some other items or some other topics that BlackRock hits?
Yeah, so BlackRock also helps us with, well, I wouldn't say help, but they take part in a lot of initiatives to further advance like our investments. I know I spoke about IBIT, which is the ETF through BlackRock that came out in January, and since then that investment is up over 100%. Just so you know, and I know. I know when they came out with this ETF, it was kind of like it was obvious for me that now people are pushing into the blockchain as far as like our country. A lot of businesses are pushing into it. So what you don't want to do is ignore big pushes like this, because when you have when you have huge entities like countries investing in things such as cryptocurrency, do you really want to sit on the sidelines for something like that? You don't
Hmm.
want to wait until the half the population has bought into this. You want to catch it while it's early. So uh, when Bitcoin ETFs were first approved, Bitcoin was sitting at like 45,000. But now, if you look at Bitcoin today, it's hovering around 115, and the highest that it's been has been around 124. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're taking advantage of information that you're getting. You want to be able to think on these situations and act on them. Don't wait for everyone to be doing it, because by then it's probably too late and you've missed all of the opportunity that you could have had. There's a lot of information on the internet about it. It's kind of up to you to go ahead and do the research. We're kind of putting that bug in your ear so that you can take these gems and go do your own research and see if this is an investment that you can do or not, because this is something that can really benefit you. Um, and I'm sure that if you're listening to this and then crypto just suddenly blasts off, you're gonna hate that you didn't take the opportunity. So make sure you look into Bitcoin. I don't really personally go down the rabbit hole and go into all the meme coins and altcoins. I kind of stick with just Bitcoin and ETH. Um, Especially because these are the ones that as I said, the country and also these big institutions like BlackRock are investing into. So take that as you will, and
Hmm.
just see what you should do on your side.
Yeah, exactly. And to continue that conversation and piggyback on that, BlackRock's maybe their primary. I'm gonna say primary because that's the one that most people talk about. Their ETF is ticker IBIT, so IBIT. That just in since its inception, which was January of 2024, like you said, Cornell, it's up 165%. It tracks Bitcoin pretty much identical, right? So as long as Bitcoin is moving in this direction, IBIT is going to do the same thing. And that's exactly what Cornell just talked about, right? These large companies, not just BlackRock, that's just one, are starting to adopt this new way of managing money, which is digital assets. So once you get a company like BlackRock that owns so much, right, to create an ETF specifically for one one type of cryptocurrency, you you pay attention to it, right? You pay attention to it for sure. So, yeah, BlackRock is heavily invested in cryptocurrency, um, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and they show that by creating those ETFs and allowing you to um, invest in Bitcoin through these brokerage accounts without actually purchasing Bitcoin itself. And then, as you all know, we talked about it in an episode a couple weeks ago. Trump opened up the idea of 401ks investing in cryptocurrency as well. So we might even start seeing some of these Bitcoin ETFs inside of our 401ks, which would just add to the other funds that are managed by BlackRock, potentially, right? So, all that information is there. Go ahead, Cornell. What's
And
up?
this is really significant, and I just wanted to highlight this because, as you all know, there weren't a whole lot of policies around cryptocurrency. So a lot of people were getting scammed. The cryptocurrency was getting stolen and things of that nature. The fact that it's an ETF now gives it that same security as all other securities within brokerages, right? So I don't know if you've ever seen like how something is insured, like FDIC insured and things of that nature through brokerages. Now you have that insurance with things with crypto because you're not directly investing into Bitcoin. You're investing into an ETF, which has 100%. Um, that's a hundred
Allocation.
percent
Yeah.
allocated into
Hmm.
Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So that's something. If you don't feel safe when investing in Bitcoin, this is a safer route. I'm not sure which one is better, investing in the real thing or
ETF.
the ETF. I personally am invested in both.
Yep. That's to me, that's the best of both worlds, right? Why not? I think something else that people maybe don't always think about when it comes to BlackRock is the fact that they own so many shares. So we know how stocks work. You purchase a stock, that means you own a share of the company. But if you're not part of the board of directors or anything like that, but you own so many shares, your vote starts to matter, right? BlackRock is one of those companies that owns so many shares of specific companies that their vote can have a play on how the company operates, right? Like policy changes or how much the executive is going to get paid because they own so many shares of certain companies. They can literally cast a vote saying, "Well, I think that the company should do this." But that's what happens when you're owning thousands and thousands of shares. You start to position yourself to where you can now be a part of the conversation and not just be a listener, but also an active participant in making those changes. So, because BlackRock has so much money and has so many shares in specific companies, they at times can literally dictate the direction of what a company does. So, I wanted to just add that out there. They aren't just um, heavy in the investing side, they're also political. And some of the decisions that they make, including deciding to purchase multiple shares of a company, could be a power move, right? Because they want a specific company to do something or make a certain decision. So just the thought, right? How much BlackRock can actually affect the companies that we, interact with every day, and not only that, but the way we invest our money, right? Like us deciding on what we're investing in. I do really believe that the whole BlackRock ETF and people just creating I said BlackRock ETF, Bitcoin ETFs that were created pushed the actual Bitcoin up to where it's at now. Part of it, right? I think that definitely had a hand in it. The fact that they opened up Bitcoin to so many more people. But yeah, BlackRock is doing a lot of big things, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wanted to clear up something because I said FDIC. That's actually for things like checking accounts and savings accounts up to 250. But
Hmm.
securities are invested. I mean, are insured by something different, which are Securities Investor Protection Corporation, and that's up to 500,000. So you'll see that with brokerages like Fidelity, Charles Schwab,
Hmm.
Vanguard, and things of that nature. So you're protected. And I know that some brokerages, once you reach past 500,000, they have other insurances that can support you past the 1 million mark and further once you get into that higher net worth. But for the regular day-to-day civilians, um, yeah, up to 500 through SIPC.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't really. I mean, I forgot that there was an actual difference. We see FDIC insured on so many things. We just kind of blanket that. Nah, but that's good information. So what is BlackRock doing now, right? Like we know that in 2024 it was heavy in Bitcoin. It still is, right? It's still it's still definitely a promoter of Bitcoin. Some of the companies that BlackRock is working with, maybe just 2 weeks ago, we've all heard of Citibank before, right? CITI. Citibank handed $80 billion worth of assets over to BlackRock so that BlackRock can manage it for them. right? Citi wants its customers to feel more safe, more secure, and they want their wealth management planning to be elevated. So BlackRock absorbed, and I'm saying 80 billion, but I want to make sure that y'all hear me. It's not Citi handed $80 billion. It's 80 billion worth of assets that is now being managed by BlackRock. Okay. So we know how a lot of these asset management companies work. They get paid a certain percentage to manage funds. So I mean, I'm saying that Citi didn't pay them 80 billion, but they're still getting a big chunk of money just for managing that much money. All right. That has happened. And then, not to mention, BlackRock is putting millions of dollars in data centers for AI expansion. And we know a lot of companies are big on AI. BlackRock is definitely one of them. They're promoting AI, cloud computing, um, figuring out ways to make sure that artificial intelligence is powered correctly, and that also it is able to pretty much work as we're expecting it to work, and staying ahead of the game when it comes to this AI race. So it's constantly absorbing more and more customers with its play with Citibank, but then of course it's doing its own investing in artificial intelligence. It just had a gas deal with Aramco, $10 billion. BlackRock is in a lot of different places, man. So yeah, it's definitely going to affect the overall financial market, period. Right. What we want to do is make sure that people are paying attention to some of the moves it is making. Okay. Because some of the decisions that BlackRock makes can affect potentially some of the investments that you have. So just always make sure that you are staying up to date on things that you're investing in and what could potentially be affecting that. But with BlackRock having its hand in so many things, it's a possibility that some move that they make could affect what you have.
And
Yeah.
with this information, this is why BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager.
Hmm.
So I know that what we were trying to do, like for this episode, as Deshaun said in the beginning, a lot of people hear BlackRock, but they don't know what they do. Some people
Hmm.
think it's a broker, some people think it's a hedge fund, but that is not what they are. They manage assets for institutions, for the government, and things of that nature, and they help push finance forward when it comes to investments and just what's open to the public and when it in the private sector when it comes to investing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. BlackRock is for the client. Let's just put it like that, right? They're going to do what they need to do and invest for their client. It's not for everyday family people. They're not making decisions for people like me and you. They are making their decisions for the client. So I'm not saying that bad or good. Everyone has their own decision to make in regards to BlackRock. But like Cornell mentioned, we wanted to just make sure that y'all had the information in order to make the decisions on your own. So yeah.
All right.
All right,
Well,
man. Well, go ahead. You can close it out, bro.
with that, I think this was a very productive one. Being knowledge is power. So just continue learning and continue on your journey, and you'll be great.
Yes,
Keep
sir.
moving.
Yeah. All right, man. As always, appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you got to the end of this episode, make sure you hit that subscribe button, share it with somebody. Leave a comment if you feel like it. Let us know if you learned something. And as always, man, every week we're coming back at you with more financial tips, financial knowledge. We hope you learned something today. Catch y'all next week.
For
Peace out.
sure. Peace.